Saturday workshop, improv workshop in San Francisco, which is one of the longest running in the country, going back some 35 years ago. And David told us that he, after 30 years, he finally convinced his lovely wife, Ellen, he stopped whining and was able to convince her to join him in the improv. So she's been coming too, and she's just...
We asked everybody to write a little bio, a little something that you would like us to say about you as an introduction. And David, other than the workshops, and it was all about his wife, Ellen, and his daughter, Chloe, who is a member of the Groundlings, right, in Los Angeles, is up for audition for Saturday Night Live. I think they're...
And David points out that Ellen and Chloe are both much funnier than he is.
Much more talented.
More talented, yeah.
And I met them both, and he's probably right. But let's find out.
Let's find out. So David Finan, and his piece is called Lost and Found. David Finan.
You know, you think it's volatile today? 50 years ago, 1969, 1968, when Richard Nixon had been elected, 68, Martin Luther King had been assassinated, Bobby Kennedy had been assassinated, Vietnam. The world was really upside down. And personally, my life was kind of all over the place because I recall walking up Broadway, down to Lower Broadway by the Trinity Church below Wall Street, and seeing construction workers just beat the crap out of hippies, calling them pinko communists and faggots. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I had set a check for $700 in my pocket because my starter marriage had basically fallen apart. Completely fallen apart. And there was a deal that you could get in New York at that time. American Airlines, round-trip ticket, a night in the Hotel Cortez in El Paso, Texas, and then to Juarez for a divorce, for a Mexican divorce, for $700. They subsequently, I think, anyway, I'm married now, but I don't think, well, I think that I'm actually a bigamist because those, the mafia judge who married us in New Jersey years later questioned this, but you know, everybody was there, and it was Sunday morning, and he kind of let it slide. So anyway, 2 days later, I'm in the fashionable Hotel Cortez in El Paso, Texas. Breakfast, 8 o'clock in the morning. There's maybe 20 people sitting in the room. Everybody had flown down on American Airlines. There were about, I don't know, 20, 22 of us. I counted the people on the plane. It wasn't quite full. There was one couple that was the odd ones out. They were going there to get married. And they, you know, they were sitting there necking and they're all over each other. And everybody else on the plane is like looking at them like, what the God? They could, it just made them sick. And here they were in this room for breakfast. And they're smooching while everybody else is sitting there behind a newspaper like this, looking over the top of the paper to see who else is in the room. And meanwhile, up in the corner, there's a loudspeaker, and the loudspeaker would say, Senor Bolt, Senor O'Brien, taxi cab numero 8, Senor Feynman, Senorita Cicerone, taxi cab 2. Go out, get the cab. 20 minutes later, you're in Juarez. In the municipal building. It's a building that's made out of adobe and the floors are dirt. There's a guy asleep under a sombrero. there's a chicken, there's a duck, there's a kid in a diaper, and then in the middle of the room, there's a, like a platform. And you step up onto this platform, and there in front of you is a book about this wide and that deep. And the pages are folded out like that. They're made of parchment, of goat skin. You reach up and there's a pen, and you sign your name. Put the pen back. And now, you're a citizen of Ciudad Juarez. And back of the building is your abogado, your attorney, Ricardo Montalban, with rich Corinthian leather skin, vicuna suit, beautiful suede gloves lined in cashmere, white goatee, black hair, coal eyes. In his hand he has basically what I think they call in British law bill of particulars. It's a list of all the shitty things that you've done to your wife that warrant a divorce. Except your wife isn't there. So instead they have a surrogate. And she's maybe, I don't know, 26, 28 years old. Kind of mean looking. Es verdad? I don't understand a fucking word. See, yes, see. I'm given a piece of paper and I'm officially divorced. It's 9:15 in the morning or 9:30 in the morning. Don't have anything to do. Go around, there's a square. There's kids selling chiclets. You could buy a hammock, hirachis, a bullwhip, a switchblade. I walk along the edge of the thing, and there's a line of maybe 20 really old, burned out, may have been New York cabs with 500,000 miles on them. Some are yellow, some are orange. It's the color of New York cabs. The guy says to me, "Senor, 50 cents, I give you a tour of the city." Oh, that's cool. I get in the cab, and all of a sudden, we're not in the city anymore. We're past the bull ring. We're past the racetrack. We're headed to the desert. I said, excuse me, I'm starting to get nervous. She said, "We're going to go see my cousin." You like girls? Yeah. I got the suit that I was married in a year or 2 years prior. I got $200 in my pocket. It's all the money that I have. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, you like boys? Well, it's not exactly that. You know what I'm thinking? What convoluted way am I going to have to compromise myself to fuck my way out of Juarez? So he pulls up to Quonset. We go inside, there's two guys with guns. There's a woman who looks like Danny DeVito as her father, and Marilyn Monroe, like Jane Mansfield was her mother. She had Jane Mansfield's figure, but she was this tall. So I go into saying, what, senor? There's an economic disparity here between the wealth in El Paso, all that wealth, and the disparity here. This is toxic. This is just abusive for a subjugated class of people to be in a situation such as this. They were so fucking glad to get rid of me. The next day I'm back in New York. It's freezing cold. Absolutely freezing cold. I'm walking backwards down Perry Street, because I'm living in the West Village, over to the dock, and I realize I still got on my wedding ring. I'm still, was I dreaming? I go to the end of the dock. I say to myself, I'm going to graduate school. So, in this time period, there was so much chaos going on in the outside world in terms of the politics, and that same chaos was part of me. And it was extremely difficult. So, go to graduate school. And December the 15th, 1972, 5:30 in the evening, at this hotbed for communism called the Graduate Faculty of the New School for Social Research, located at 65 Fifth Avenue. 5:30 in the evening. I'm standing in the entranceway with two very close friends, one of whom is actually here tonight, who happened to notice coming in out of the mists a really beautiful, beautiful young lady. And pointed her out to me, and so I chased after. The school had merged with Parsons School of Design, and they shared the same library. I had always had this kind of hidden secret that I would wind up with an artist. And so I ran down to the library, and I went through this turnstile, and she's coming through, and I was so taken by her eyes and her face. I just said, "E?" No. I haven't had good luck in situations like this. I said, no, I mean, no, really, it's 5:30, it's Friday, we could go out, we can have dinner. She says to me, look, I have work to do. I will give you my phone number. And if you call me in 2 weeks, maybe, and I'm not promising you anything, maybe I will go out with you. Maybe. I said, but eat? So I'm really excited. I'm really excited. So on St. Mark's Place in New York, which there was this incredible hairstylist called Paul McGregor, who was this incredible innovator that came up with this concept of the shag haircut. Goldie Hawn had it in Laugh-In. Jane Fonda wore it in some of her early films, but the big thing for me in the film Shampoo was the hairdo that Warren Beatty had, and I thought, wow, I gotta get me a shag hairdo. Paul McGregor. So I go over there, but the hair cutter kind of got things on. I maybe didn't understand me or something, so I got a Rod Stewart. So the hair is like maybe about the length of a little piggy on top, and then these things up the side. And I thought, well, you know, I'm not a New Yorker, I'm from Baltimore. Most of the guys in that area, they didn't even have shoulders, and they kind of walk around and they wear platform shoes up to here, and they're all high, and it's like, but at least I'm gonna look like I'm part of the scene, because people would come from all over the country to be on the street. They're poets, there's authors, there's musicians. I mean, this is like the place to be, and to have a Paul McGregor haircut. So I go into the surplus store, and I figure I gotta get matching pants. So they had these for $4. You could get a pair of, they're called 13-button navy pants. 6 buttons. One button here, and there's a string, and they're kind of a bell-bottom thing. So it's like it's close to authentic. I had that with a pair of orange cowboy boots. A cowboy shirt, stripes, but then I needed a coat. So in the same surplus store, they had this thing from Britain. It was made out of rubber. And it was a raincoat that went all the way down, like a tent, arms, and when you bent the arm, it didn't fold, it actually rolled on itself. It was like, you looked like the character Tintin from a comic or something. So I'm really pleased with myself. I cleaned up my act. I go over to Ellen's apartment and I knock on the door. She opens the door. She looks at me. Do I know you? I felt, finally, I mean, it was like reality converged on me. I'd written myself a note just like a few days before that. You've got to get yourself a girlfriend. Anyway, she did agree to go out with me. I had dinner with friends. One of them's in this room. We went to a Chinese restaurant in Chinatown. Say and Look was its name, and it made this fabulous thing called flash fried flounder. But the way you order is you want fresh fried flounder. Yes. And she ordered a gin and ginger ale. And I said, what is a gin and ginger ale? It's a drink we drink in New Jersey. You can't, no, there, you can't drink that. And then I was nervous, so I ate her food as well. 2 months later, we're living together on St. Mark's. And it's the last Sunday in February. It's the perfect time for making French toast that's crispy on the outside and custardy on the inside. Custardy on the inside. And the key to this, you need a heavy cast iron skittle, and you need olive oil. You need challah. You need to cut it thick. You need a Pyrex dish. And you need a stove. You mix it all together. And if you're really cool, you have a small bottle of vanilla. You throw a capful in. And then you let everything kind of heat up the right way. In this particular apartment, it's called a railroad flat. So there's dual purpose stuff. At the end of the hall is the bathroom, and then before that's a very teeny room that I built a loft bed where we could sleep. And here's the kitchen, and this is the front door, and then out that window you can see the Bowery and 3rd Avenue, etc. And this dual purpose area, when you lift that top off, it's actually a bathtub. So in New York, you need a spa, you need a place, where you can, but if you have no money, it's the bathtub in the kitchen. So, we're here. And what was amazing about this street at the time, across the street is a jazz place called the 5 Spot, where major John Coltrane, Charlie Parker, Patti Smith performed there. Around the corner was a club called, what was it, C for country, BG Bluegrass B, CBG B, because it was originally country bluegrass blues place, but it was never that. This is where Madonna first performed, and that's where it was where all the, the grunge rock, all that stuff came out of there. Down the street was a place called the Electric Circus, where Andy Warhol had films, and they had these happenings, and that was next to Paul McGregor's hair salon. So this was like a really cool street. Across St. Mark's lived W.H. Auden, Whiston Auden, the poet. You could see him shuffling around in his bedroom slippers on the way to church. And at 60 St. Mark's, in the 60s, lived Lenny Bruce. It was an amazing, Jack Kerouac lived there. Allen Ginsberg lived on that block. This is a block that it takes 10 minutes or so to walk it. It only goes from Broadway over to 1st Avenue. It's maybe a half mile long. It's probably the most, as something explosive in terms of culture and counterculture, music, art, every area, it was like right there on that street, and we lived at 7 St. Mark's. The perfect place for Sunday breakfast. And we're sitting in that room, and all of a sudden there's this commotion, and I'm sitting there reading the New York Times, and the French toast is done, and it's beautiful, beautiful, with maple syrup on it, perfect. And the door explodes open, and in comes, dancing in, this guy with a woman. The woman has her bra straps deep dug into the backs of her shoulders, and this bra that's like, and it's wide hips. And he's got on garters, black socks, shiny black shoes, white boxers, sleeveless t-shirt. And they dance into the kitchen. And they don't speak English. Excuse please, excuse please, excuse please. And they're gone. And Ellen says, she looks at me, she says, I wasn't raised for this. And I said, but what about the French toast? So, I think we've been married 45 years.
Woo!
Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you all.
Thank you, David Feynman.
David!
Thank you, David. Thank you to all the artists. Let's get all the artists up here.
Dan, David,
David,
Laura, a lot of hard work, a lot of courage, great stories. Can't believe how they transitioned over the,
Well, it was really, it was great.
You guys are great, you made us proud. We're going to do this again sometime in
So you
September.
do keep an eye out on the Throckmorton website for upcoming solo performance. We also do our Wednesday night improv here, and there's so much going on at the Throckmorton Theater. There's the Throckmorton Youth Theater. They're about to do The Lion King. They're doing just fantastic productions here. Tuesday night every week is stand-up comedy night, and we MC the first Tuesday of every month. There's just so much happening. This theater is, it looks like it could be a museum, but it is not. It is alive and growing, and we're just thrilled to be a part of it. We thank Lucy for
Lucy, yes.
Yay,
allowing
Woo!
us to do this here. Thanks to everyone tonight for doing all the
Laura, David, Fran, and David, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming out and supporting us.
Woo!